What up, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of NFC Beast. This, of course, the only show that breaks down all of the things going down in the NFC East that matters to you as well as your fan bases. We got four of the top reporters in the nation to do just that. In New York, Lou Albanese is in the building. Jeff Kolb returns from Dallas, and in Philadelphia, Breland Moore is back on the show again here today. We're going to talk about all sorts of things, from the Washington Commanders' 7-game losing streak, the New York Giants losing just as many, and are the Philadelphia Eagles fractured or completely broken? But this conversation begins in Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys have won 3 consecutive games, including last week over the Kansas City Chiefs. So, Jeff Kolb, I'm coming to you right now, brother. Are the Cowboys indeed the team to beat in the NFC East?
Yes, right now, that is. Obviously, the Eagles still have a better record overall in this division. But my big thing before I get into some of the numbers about the Cowboys is, they weren't, losing consecutive games earlier in the season. It was 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss. There's a tie mixed in there. They have now beaten 2 legitimate contending teams in the Eagles. Breland, I think you'd agree with me. Still, some contention ability there in Philadelphia as the reigning champs, and then obviously the Chiefs. So when you can beat the 2 teams that were in the Super Bowl last year in a span of 4 days, that just speaks for itself. And then when you look at some of the numbers, Cowboys have scored 81 more points than this Philly offense, 12 games in for each team. Dak is second in the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns, and that's all great. But the issue for this team was the defense. Since the trade deadline, since they went and got Quinnen Williams from the Jets, this rush defense is now second best over those 3 games in the league. That is the big difference, and that's why the Cowboys right now, I can't believe I'm saying it, but they actually have a shot at this division and more.
Now, being somebody who covers the team right here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, one of the largest rivalry in all sports, of course, being this Washington football team with the Dallas Cowboys, I should be ashamed of myself for the fact that I've been caping for this Dallas Cowboys squad all season long. I told you all that Dak Prescott was going to win the MVP of the league. I told you all that this Dallas offense was going to be able to carry them to prosperity. I even told you that when they win a playoff game, it is going to vindicate one Jerry Jones for trading away Micah Parsons, and now Breland, everybody else is coming around as well. You go ahead and tell your fan base that the Dallas Cowboys are now the team to beat in the East.
Well, I'm not going to do that because I have eyeballs and I can see who's at the top of the standings, and it's not Dallas, okay? So there's that, number one. Number two, yes, they did beat 2 Super Bowl teams from last year, but did anybody remember that the Eagles also beat the Chiefs this year pretty heavy-handedly? It's not nothing to look at, sideways at. So, look, the Eagles, we'll talk about them in just a little bit. I am extraordinarily disappointed with what they've been able to piece together. Losing back-to-back games for the second time this season is nothing to, toss to the side here. It's a very serious issue that this team has, but I'm not hearing this Dallas conversation being the team to beat when you've got a team that's still 8-4 at the top of the standings. Come on now.
Lou, it's time for you to be the voice of reason. Jeff has come all the way around. I feel like Breland is kind of on that fence right now. You're the voice of reason, Lou.
Okay, I'll be the voice of reason. Who would have thought at any point this year that a former New York Jet could be the difference maker of winning a division?
That's right.
A New York Jet. But Quinnen Williams could be the difference maker. It was 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago that we said the division was over, the Eagles have won it. And I look at the standings, I looked at today and said, wow, how did the Cowboys get so close? Quinnen Williams. He was doing nothing here. He's back being maybe the best defensive lineman in the NFL, interior lineman at least.
That's it. That's it. Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? We, of course, got more time to definitively answer this question. But with that, we'll go ahead and move on to the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a squad that now, as Breland just spoke to, has lost 2 consecutive games now. And they have been a perfect 500 in their last 8 games. So, Breland, coming to you now. Offense scores 15 points once again. Are your Eagles, the offense specifically, are they fractured or is it completely broken?
I think as a team, they're fractured, and I think as an offense, a little bit more so. I don't think this team is broken. You can't put that label on a team that has this much talent. I refuse to believe that they're completely cooked at this point. That being said, when you lose the time of possession battle, basically 2-1 here, and your defense, who has really been saving their behinds for the majority of this season, they give up 425 yards of offense, the majority of that coming from the ground. They were completely outcoached during this game against Chicago. And Chicago wasn't doing anything fancy. It actually reminded me very much of what the Eagles were doing last year, just running it right up the middle over and over and over. And the refusal to make adjustments on the defensive side of the ball, that starts and ends with Vic Fangio. The offense has been a concern this entire season. I think it was extremely jarring to hear Jalen Hurts post-game say that they're still trying to find their identity after 14 weeks or 13 weeks in the NFL heading into week 14. You don't have an identity yet on this offense? That is an extreme concern. Look, everyone complained and shot the finger at A.J. Brown when he was very vocal about this offense being broken, but I don't think anybody can sit here and say that he didn't have a point. Something is terribly wrong there, and it's going to take everybody to get back on board and get this thing going. But I've been pointing to it all season long. This offensive line has been playing really, really poorly, and that's not typically a characteristic of an Eagles team. And I think that is a really sneaky, large portion of what's going on here.
All right, so let me just, because I was taking notes, Breland, let me make sure that I got this right here. We say that the offense has been an issue all season long. Now Jalen Hurts jumping on board with A.J. Brown with criticizing it. You say that they were out-coached, that the defense now has struggles, that they're not keeping up with the opposing teams as well either, but yet, team's not broken yet, it's only fractured. I just want to make sure that I got the notes right. Jeff, what say you?
All right, so going back to the top of the show, I said the Cowboys, yes, they're the best team right now. So there's caveats to this, and I think, are the Eagles fully broken as a team? No. I mean, that's a really dang good defense still, and you see they're still holding teams to low point totals. But I think parts of this team are broken, and Breland touched on the offensive line. We just saw, the other week, Saquon Barkley come down here to Arlington and only rush for, I believe, 22 yards. I mean, Luke can remember times when Giants Saquon was doing way better than that, and so
yes.
That part is broken. And I got to say, Breland, you pointed out the Cowboys are still staring up at the Eagles in the division, but it's 1.5 games if my math, which is sometimes off, is correct here. Head-to-head is the first tiebreaker, of course, in the division, so that's split 1-1. And then after that, it's best record within division games. Right now, the Cowboys are 3-1. The Eagles are 2-2. So the Cowboys control their destiny there. They just have to go beat the Giants and the Commanders one more time at the end of the season. And if they have an equal or better record than the Eagles, they'll take the division.
I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to say that if this is not a complete break, it is at least a compound fracture, and this is something that is being held together by tape at this point in time. You spoke about it there, Kolb. Saquon Barkley, check this out, one game. He's rushed for over 100 yards, and Breland, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the only game he rushed for over 100 yards was against the New York Giants. You look at this offense, They have 5 times this season. They scored 20 or fewer points in 5 games this year, but the largest thing is the fact that these things are beginning to come out more and more in the media, not only A.J. Brown, but now, albeit in construction, you hear from Jalen Hurts as well. I think that this is a pot that is on the point of potentially boiling over. This is a powder keg, Lou. What do you think?
Okay, I'm going to say this in all the nicest way possible. Breland, I love your sweater, but it reminds me of the Riddler in the Batman shows. And I will say this, riddle me this, Batman. In the last 4 weeks, who has scored more points? The New York Jets or the Philadelphia Eagles? And the winner is the New York Jets. Any team that can be outscored by the New York Jets are not fractured. They are on death row. Okay, so riddle me this. Your time as champion could be coming to an end.
That's right. That's right. Breland,
Do you guys really think this team, I'm sorry, do you really think this team, look at the remaining games on this schedule. Yes, the Chargers might be a problem. Yes, the Bills might be a problem, but the Bills kind of look a little suspect as well. Do you really think this team is going to lose to a squad like the Raiders and, sorry, Chad, the Commanders twice? Like, come on. They'll be fine. It's just, I don't know if they're going to be, it's Super Bowl, but they will be fine in terms of winning the division. Come on.
All right.
Yeah, but Chargers Bills, if they lose those two, and the Cowboys stay hot, I mean that's the gap, 1.5.
Tell them, Jeff. Make sure they know. I'm telling you, we got to get more.
You think the Cowboys are going to beat Detroit?
Wait, Jeff, save that.
We'll
save that.
We'll
That's
get
at the
to
end of
that.
the show.
We'll get to that. I think it'll be tight. We'll get to that.
All right. We promise that we will get to that by the end of the show. We'll get Jeff's prediction. Want to switch this on over right here to the Washington, D.C. market. The Washington Commanders lose their second consecutive game in overtime on Sunday night, falling to the Denver Broncos. And 7 overall is the number of losses. So that brings the question. This is a team that had Super Bowl aspirations at the beginning of the season. Breland, we've been beating up on you all day long thus far. So are our Washington Commanders, are they in fact the least of the East?
No, I still think it's the Giants. I mean, as I mentioned, you are who your record says you are, so it's still going to be New York. However, I do think in terms of long-term growth, yes, that the Washington Commanders are in trouble. As I've mentioned before on the show, their roster is old. There's no depth to it, and that starts with your front office making signings and drafting correctly. Whereas New York has a little bit of a spark in Jackson Dart and some of these younger talents if they can, avoid disciplinary issues, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. But yeah, I think short term, obviously they are not the least of the NFC East, but maybe long term this is going to be a problem for them.
Lou, this is one of the conversations that you were having on this show just last week. You said last week you like where the Giants are more than you do so the Commanders.
Well, they both stink, but I think the Giants less stink than the Commanders. And so I like the Giants' future, and I don't like the Commanders' future, so I still stay with the Giants on that.
Listen,
does that make sense?
It makes sense, Lou, but I think that both of you are absolutely incorrect here. Breland, we talked last week. Injuries are a part of football. Every team is injured, but this Washington Commanders team has been injured at a level and in certain positions in a way that damn near no other team in the league potentially ever has, specifically that wide receiver as well as that edge rusher position. I think that right now you're seeing Washington Commanders players begin to come back. Terry McLaurin comes back and looks like not only Terry of old, he looked like a top 5 wide receiver playing against a Denver Broncos Pat Surtain on Sunday night. I believe that he makes this offense that much better, and as they continue to get more healthy, maybe a Jaden Daniels returns, I think that this Washington Commanders team is in a far better place right now than the New York Giants are, Jeff.
I don't need numbers here. We're talking about 2 bad teams. I think we all agree on that. Just based on the kicker stubbing his toe alone, I'm going the Giants are least. That was ridiculous. You can't. How? How did that happen? That was so
He's not
embarrassing.
here anymore, though.
Giants are the
Remember that.
least. I'm sorry.
All right.
Still.
So we have to make history every time we play.
Well, got to keep it interesting. There wasn't much other interesting things going down in that game. And to that point, Lou, again, the Giants lose that game, but not only a loss to the Patriots in primetime on Monday night in Foxborough, but they didn't even look competitive out there. You look at the changes to the head coach, the change to the defensive coordinator. Is this team even still listening, or have they gone fishing?
Oh, they've gone fishing. And, I blame myself because finally I actually pick them once, and the one time I pick them, they look like garbage. At least the last times when I said they would lose, they were competitive. No, this team is so lost. You have a number 1 draft pick in Abdul Carter who doesn't even come in to meetings. He misses meetings. He falls asleep. He doesn't seem to care. Oh, he says now he's learned. He's gotten the message. The 14 other times that they talked to him, he never got the message. But this time he's got the message. No, this is a mess. They need a complete overhaul. And the best thing that happened to the Giants last weekend was the chance of fire Mike Tomlin. Because I'm telling you, that's the move. Trade a first-round pick to the Steelers, make it nice and simple. Mike Tomlin to the Giants, get a grown-up in the room, and clean up this daycare center.
Man, Lou, if that first-round pick comes next season, it'll be a top 3, potentially a top 2 pick that'll be traded away. You're willing to do that for Mike Tomlin?
They'll still be better off with Tomlin.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, I am, because they have a lot of young players. They need a grown-up.
Jeff, to Lou's points here, it is the dysfunction within the organization, seemingly the dysfunction within the organization that leads me to say that the Commanders are in a better position than the New York Giants. What say you? This Giants team, they'd been competitive. They weren't last week.
Yeah, they've had a lot of close losses, a bunch of single-digit losses. And so, first of all, I love Lou's idea. Mike Tomlin would be a home run. That would be amazing. I don't think everyone's gone fishing. I like Jackson Dart. You know, we heard him say he's not playing soccer, right? He's still playing hard, and so for him to be moving forward as he is, when you're missing your best receiver in Malik Neighbors for the rest of the year, you're missing Cam Scatteraboo. There's something there. I don't think he's gone fishing, but Abdul Carter and some of the others looks like they probably have.
Sure. Hey, Breland.
Yeah.
The Giants. Look, listen. So here's my take on it. Again, they've.
I thought you were going to roast me.
Well, not this time, Breland. That time is over. We'll come back to it later on. But the Giants, they looked so good earlier in the year. I mean, Lou was even on this very show praising the team, that effort, that desire, that determination to get better. I thought that maybe it was time for the defensive coordinator to go. I think that was a tough time when he's going to be facing Drake May as well as Josh McDaniels and this Patriots offense. It looked like that more came back to get them more than necessarily a lack of effort.
I'm not entirely sure because, as I mentioned the week before, when we talk about coaching and firing coaches in mid-season, it's a risky move. But at the same time, if they've lost the locker room, if they've lost the faith of their players, if they cannot be that adult, as Lou said, yeah, it is time for them to go because the rest of your season's just going to go haywire. Now, the Giants we can all, I think, agree that they're cooked regardless. But now it is time to have that leadership, have that discipline, especially when you have a room full of young men. There's a lot of impressionable minds there still trying to figure out the National Football League, and you need structure. You need, as Lou said, somebody to take the reins of the daycare. And if you don't have that in your coaching staff, yeah, absolutely, you've got to let them go. But I agree. I would like to see a strong-minded coach that comes in and has a system in place and knows what he's doing and is respected. I think that can go a long way for a locker room that's young like this.
All right. Well, we will talk more about that coming up in just a moment. I personally given up a first-round pick, top 3 for Mike Tomlin. I think that's crazy, but we'll discuss that and so much more in a moment. Welcome back to NFC Beast. We closed the last segment talking about the New York Giants, talking about a potential new head coach coming in here, Mike Tomlin or their other. Lou, I'm going to come to you right now because star draft pick from last season, a ton of hope, a ton of projections were put into Abdul Carter. However, he was suspended or sat out for the first quarter, a second time last week. Do the Giants have an Abdul Carter problem?
Yes. You know, it's happened before, and the word is that when Brian Daboll was here, he overlooked it and let him play. And that's the worst thing you can do. Okay, two things I would have done this year. Two things. Number one, I would have benched Carter for the whole game. I mean, what are we playing for at this point? I know Daboll was playing. These guys are fighting for their job, Kafka and Daboll, but you got to make a real example. 1 series, 2 series, what does that do for you? Sit him. Don't even dress him. Let him. That's where he got the message. 2, when it comes to Jackson Dart, I understand he's gung-ho. I love his attitude and everything else, but it comes a point where, look, I know we're not playing soccer, but guess what? You still cannot run and get that extra yard. That 1 yard when they knocked you halfway to New Jersey is not the right way to play. And he doesn't get this through his head. So if this coaching staff can't get it through their heads, they got to get real people in. I don't know if I give up the 3rd overall pick, but I'll be honest with you, they have a lot of young players. They need a proven coach. And I'm telling you, it's possible because they need this. That locker room needs real leadership.
I happen to agree with you, Lou. I think that is something that is absolutely needed there, not only with Abdul Carter, but also guidance for Jackson Dart to make sure that he can stay on the field. Breland, what say you?
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, the Abdul Carter stuff is insane. But when you think about it, Daboll, of course, was going to let him get away with it because he's trying to fight for his job. And he knows that he's going to need all the help that he can get in order to rack up those wins. But you have an impressionable young player who thinks he can get away with anything. He's a 3rd overall pick. You have to set some guidelines and some discipline down in that. And I think, Lou, you know, I don't know about the 3rd overall pick as well, just trading away a top 3 pick. But that being said, they do need to acquire a coach who not only is experienced and not only has a level of respect and that discipline that he can bring, but somebody who's not afraid to lose their job. You can't coach scared in this league, especially when you're dealing with young guys like that. And I fully agree. He should have been benched a while ago. And the fact that he was only benched for the first series or whatever, that's still, in my opinion, that's still not enough for a repeat offender. Come on, lay down the law and get your locker room in order.
Jeff, Abdul Carter, one of his role models, if not his absolute role model, one Micah Parsons out there. Are you seeing any Micah Parsons in Abdul Carter?
Not really. No, I don't think Micah ever had this issue down here, and I don't think he's having it up with the Packers. I mean, Micah has been a headache at times, but not in a sense of like missing meetings or not putting in the effort. So, no, I agree with everybody. You can't compromise the standard of the team, you know, especially with a rookie like Abdul Carter. So, however you got to bench him. 2 quick things I want to work in. You know, we're talking about trading. I wouldn't trade the 3rd overall pick for Mike Tomlin or any coach either. Maybe a pick. What if you didn't have to trade anything and you could get the best NFL coach of this century and rescue him from college, from the state of North Carolina?
Oh.
I don't know. Bill
And then you have to deal with his
hasn't worked out
child
so well in the
bride.
past in New York, but
No.
I'll throw that out there.
It's a package
and then
deal.
Lastly,
We don't want the other half of the package. You kidding me? Page 6 of the Post.
She'd thrive. She'd thrive there in the Big Apple. And lastly,
Oh, yeah,
so
she'd
we've
thrive.
got Abdul
She'd
Carter.
thrive. She'd thrive. Oh, yeah.
We've got Abdul Carter's antics. We've got A.J. Brown in Philly. Listen, you know, I'm down here in Jerry Jones's 365-day-a-year soap opera. We're supposed to be the ones doing this. I don't know why you guys are coming for us.
Yeah. I am sure that she would thrive in the same way that Russell Wilson and Sierra have thrived in New York, Jeff. So they've already got beats on that. But you bring up a great point. A.J. Brown in Philadelphia, as if Breland hasn't had a tough enough show yet. Bree will get out of this segment on this. A.J. Brown next year. Do you want him in Philadelphia or should he be traded away?
I absolutely want him in Philadelphia, and I think his concerns are valid. He shouldn't have been taking them to social media and everywhere else, but I think this is a man who just wants accountability here. However, we can shop Kevin Patullo. Would anybody like Kevin Patullo? Would the Giants like Kevin Patullo as their new head coach? I hear he's going to be great. You should take him.
I think that the Eagles might have to give up a first-round draft pick for the Giants to take Kevin on as the head coach. Lou, would you get rid of A.J. Brown?
No, there's too much talent there. Look, he was the same way last year, the whole book incident and all. They won a Super Bowl. You could win with these guys. You know my feeling. Nick Sirianni, when things get rough, this is when you see it falling apart. And you saw it 2 years ago when they collapsed. You're seeing it right now. This is Nick Sirianni's chance to show that I am a proven coach. Last year, everything was beautiful. It's amazing when things are good. I remember a Philadelphia guy named Brad Lidge. He was perfect in 08, and they won the World Series. As soon as somebody hit a home run off him, he collapses. And I would worry about Nick. That's the guy.
Wait a minute, Lou. I was just looking at you as you gave that response there. Is that a velvet shirt that you got on, Lou? Lou doing it special for the holiday season here. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Only for this show. Only for this show I do this.
Coming up on The Beast, we are going to pick this week's games. Keep it locked right here. It's time to pick our winners this week on The Beast, and this, our speed round. We're going to begin with this one, Dallas headed to Detroit. Jeff, you were ready to answer this earlier. Who you got?
I think this game hinges a lot on one player, and he's not a Dallas player. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown, sprained his ankle last week. If he can't go, which it looks unlikely, although they're calling him a game-time decision, I like the Cowboys. Again, the run defense has been better. Jahmyr Gibbs has been tremendous for Detroit, had 219 yards a couple games ago against the Giants, but was not as effective last game against the Packers when St. Brown was out. So I like the Cowboys as long as St. Brown doesn't play.
All right, he likes Dallas. Breland, who do you like?
I'm never picking Dallas. Go Lions.
Lou.
I like the Cowboys. Run defense, they're in a roll. I like the Cowboys.
I believe the Cowboys stay hot as well. They put up just enough points to knock off Detroit. Washington headed all the way over to Minnesota. Allow me to go first here. Not caping. The Washington Commanders get it right against a not-so-great Minnesota quarterback. The Commanders snap their 7-game losing streak. Jeff.
Yeah, I like Washington. J.J. McCarthy's been a disaster, so whether or not he plays, whoever's at quarterback for the Vikings, I like the Commanders.
Lou.
I like the Commanders. Daniel Jones, not there. That was a mistake. Also letting Sam go. That's all I'm going to say.
Breland, everybody's on Commanders. Tell your fan base.
They should make inmates watch this game. It's going to be a doozy, but I'm also going to go Washington.
That's right. Ready to raise hell in Minnesota. Our final game of the week, we've got those Philadelphia Eagles at the Chargers. Breland, take it away.
Please, God. I got to go Eagles. I'm tired of getting roasted on this panel. Please.
All right. Breland, a homer pick says that the Eagles win. Lou.
I'll go with the Eagles, especially if Herbert doesn't play. I go with the Eagles.
Jeff, I don't like the way that this sounds. All of your fan base in Dallas is looking for you to say that the Cowboys are going to move within a half a game. What happens in this one?
I agree with Luke. If Herbert doesn't play, that's huge. But Chargers 5-2 at home, second best pass defense. I think we've covered how the Eagles have kind of struggled on offense. I like the Chargers. Give me the Chargers.
Jeff likes the Chargers, and big surprise to Breland, I say that the bottom continues to fall out of the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend, and it is going to turn into a media frenzy in the city of brotherly love. The Chargers win this game with or without Herbert, and we will all be here to celebrate Breland on NFC B-East next weekend. That's going to do it for this esteemed panel. Catch us every week on the Beast. Great show, guys.